2,900 foreigners denied entry into Thailand in just the first months of 2025 alone. Not turned back for overstaying, not caught working illegally, denied at the land border for doing the exact same thing hundreds of thousands of expats have done for years, driving to Cambodia, Myanmar, or Laos, crossing for a few hours and coming back with a fresh 30-day stamp. That move no longer works, and if you try it now, you could leave Thailand with a 5-year ban issued on the spot. No appeal, no phone call, and no way back in. Let's be precise about what is at stake here, because vague warnings are useless. If you have done more than 2 consecutive visa-exempt land border crossings in any rolling 12-month period, Thailand's centralized immigration database has already flagged your passport. You may not know it yet. The next time you present that passport at Sadao, Aranyaprathet, Mae Sai, or Nong Khai, a border officer pulls up your file and hands you a ban notice. First offence, 30 days. Repeat violation, 1 year. Serious cases, 5 years. All issued at the border. All immediate. No formal appeals process exists on site. And here is the number that makes this personal. If you are a digital nomad earning $4,000 a month, a 5-year ban does not just inconvenience you. It ends your Thai chapter entirely. You lose your home, your network, your cost of living advantage, potentially overnight, because of a trip you thought was routine. The automated blacklist component of the database can flag frequent visa runners and add them to a watch list without a formal deportation event ever occurring. Purely by triggering algorithmic thresholds. You could be on a list right now and have no idea. Here is what actually happened, and when. For decades, Western expats and digital nomads use Thailand's land borders as a revolving door. Exit into Malaysia or Cambodia for a few hours, return with a fresh tourist stamp. Repeat indefinitely. Thai immigration tolerated this informally for years. But the legal framework to stop it existed long before the crackdown began. Royal Thai Police Order 327-25547, written in 2014, codified the rule that more than 2 consecutive visa-exempt land border crossings in a rolling 12-month period is grounds for denial of entry. A 2023 update, Order 606-2566, tightened the enforcement architecture further. The legal groundwork sat in place for over 2 years before anyone pulled the trigger. On the 12th of November 2025, Thailand's Immigration Bureau held an urgent high-level strategic meeting. That was the date near universal enforcement at all major land crossings began. Not a pilot program, not a regional trial, a centralized cross-border database live at every major land checkpoint simultaneously. There is also a second trigger most expats are not aware of. If you have accumulated more than 90 days total on tourist or visa-exempt entries in any rolling 180-day period, you are being flagged as a potential long-stay abuser at re-entry. Many expats doing quarterly border runs will breach that threshold without ever doing the maths. The mechanism here is straightforward once you understand it. The border run was never technically legal under Thai law, it just went unenforced. Immigration officers had discretion, and for years they exercised that discretion generously, particularly toward Western tourists who were spending money in the local economy. What changed in November 2025 was not the law was already there. What changed was the enforcement infrastructure. The new centralized database removes individual officer discretion almost entirely. When your passport scans, the system either flags it or it does not. The border officer is not making a judgment call, they are reading an output. That is the fundamental shift. You cannot charm your way through, and you cannot pick a quieter crossing and hope for a more relaxed officer. The phrase more than 2 consecutive visa-exempt land border crossings is also worth parsing carefully. Consecutive means no other type of legal stay, no tourist visa, no non-immigrant visa in between. If every land crossing you have made has been visa-exempt, with no formal visa obtained at any point, you have almost certainly crossed that threshold already if you have lived here for more than 6 months. The Thai government's officially endorsed alternative is the Destination Thailand visa. Let's look at what it actually costs versus what it replaces. A traditional border run to Mae Sot or Poi Phet costs somewhere between $80 and $150 once you factor in transport, a guest house if you need one, and border fees. Do that quarterly, which many expats do, and you are spending roughly $400 to $600 a year for the privilege of legal uncertainty that now carries a 5-year ban as a potential outcome. The DTV costs 10,000 baht, roughly $275. once, for 5 years, with 180 days of legal stay per entry. The proof of funds requirement is 500,000 baht, approximately $13,800. But this is a documentation requirement, not a fee. You show the funds exist. You do not hand them over. If you earn $4,000 per month remotely and you get handed a 1-year ban at the border, the cost is not the price of the bus ticket you wasted. The cost is potentially $24,000 in lost income for the year if the ban forces you to relocate somewhere more expensive, or the entire economic architecture of your life in Thailand, full stop. Smart expats right now are doing one of 3 things. They are applying for the DTV immediately if they qualify. They are switching to a non-immigrant visa category that matches their actual situation, retirement, business, education. Or they are pausing land border crossings entirely while they clarify their status, because the risk-to-reward ratio of a border run has permanently inverted. Here is what this comes down to. The border run worked for years because enforcement was optional. Enforcement is no longer optional. A centralized database now makes flagging your passport a mechanical process, not a human judgment. If you have done more than 2 consecutive visa-exempt land crossings in the past 12 months, you are already in a risk category. The question is not whether the rules changed. They did on 12th of November 2025. The question is whether your visa status reflects the legal reality of how you are actually living in Thailand. The DTV exists. It costs $275 for 5 years. If you're a digital nomad or long-stay expat without a formal visa, that application should be on your list this week, not next month. If you want a detailed breakdown of the DTV application process, the proof of funds documentation, and which visa categories make sense for your specific situation, subscribe to the Bangkok Brief newsletter at thebangkokbrief.com. We cover this exactly.